Welcome to In Pursuit of Truth. This is your host, Sir Patrick Mack. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a few new Q posts for you here, and I'm going to try and hit through these real quickly here because I'm actually working on a lot more information in regards to these events that we're seeing unfold in Southern California in regards to these mysterious helos that were dropping down in LA, and not just in LA, but in other areas too. Now, all that I'm still working on, none of that's going to be covered in this video, so if you have questions to ask me, you might want to spare it until I can get another video out to you. And if you've not watched my last two videos, I highly suggest that you do, but I've got a lot more coming up for you in regards to that. I'm still looking into its relations with the Wells Fargo Bank nearby, but I wanted to let you guys know that I am on it. If you have information that you want to share with me, please email it to me. Do not tweet me or anything like that. Email it to me. That's the best way to get that kind of information, but that will be coming up real soon, and depending on whether Q posts or not, I may need a couple days to work on that, but there's a lot of great stuff coming up. That being said, let's go ahead and hit the Q post here. 2676, 48 minutes after the hour 3. Optics are important. Stealth bombers silent? Yeah, that's why they call it stealth. Reread Mueller regarding designed to drops. Well, he was designed to blockade. We've read it many times. Probe conclusion coming. Well, according to Q, it looks like it's under 30 days. Coincidence, conclusion occurring as new AG installed. Yeah, it's going to be any day now. We're going to see new AG William Barr installed. And of course, there's going to be a lot of panic in regards to that. But for now, everyone seems to be panicking on Whitaker. Well, what's the purpose of Whitaker? Well, very much like Scaramucci, who was director of communications, former director of communications for the White House. He came at a really tumultuous time during the White House tenure, right? And of course, there was people just dropping left and right, and Scaramucci was getting clowned throughout the whole time. What was the purpose? The purpose was for him to weed out the rats and then get going himself. And if you'll notice, Scaramucci has never had that much negativity towards the president. Why would that be? After all, he was kind of clowned outwardly, wasn't he? Who did Scaramucci remove? Lots and lots of leakers. Was it effective? Yeah. After that, shortly, we had Jeff Sessions coming out saying that they would prosecute these leaks and things like that. So they were making it very serious that it was time to begin these investigations, and they couldn't have these leaks happen. What occurs post-installed blockade removal? D-class? Well, let's hope so. And I think we'd all love for a big, fat, bacony, cheesy.
Ooh, bacon over everything. That's bacon over everything.
All right, well, look, I want some bacony, cheesy, FISA D-class goodness like anyone else. But the fact of the matter is, and I've always stated this, I have a feeling it's just going to come out bit by bit. Oh, we've got some new testimony, 3 more pages of testimony from so-and-so, and it's going to come out, with John Solomon on Hannity or Sarah Carter in one of her scarticles, and that's how it's going to happen. And it's going to send people scurrying at the appropriate time. That seems to be the strategy. Now, I could be wrong, but that's how it has been playing out. So it wouldn't surprise me for it to continue going on this way. Rod Rowe being in brackets there. Rod Rosenstein, complete removal. Well, we know at this point that he's no longer driving the bus. Now, in the outward narrative, that's not necessarily common knowledge, but anybody who's been following QAnon knows that his power has been removed. Now, that may be in case he needs to give some more testimony. I'm not really sure how this will plan out, but like I've always maintained, he's going to be the one that, at least in the outward narrative, will have to be the one to raise Trump's hand in victory, him and Mueller. OIG release of findings. Well, now, I don't know what the dates are all going to be on this specifically, but we do know that AG Whitaker has stated that Mueller's Investigation should be wrapping up soon, and hopefully we're going to get a report. Now, I don't know how this is all going to come out, if it's going to be a massive D-class, if it'll be bigger than anything we've seen before, could very well be. But then again, I'm not going to get my hopes up for that. How are they preparing to combat? Narrative equals vital. Yeah, the narrative is falling apart for them right now, and in their mainstream narrative, they're going after each other over this whole blackface thing, when we know the late-term abortion thing is the real thing they're trying to kind of distract us from. But they're also trying to distract us from this FISA D-class. It's still important. It hasn't gone away. And I've maintained this before too. FISA is just going to be the first step into leading into really more spying investigations. But we'll talk more about that in future videos. House intel launch of more fake investigations in attempt to retain false narrative and claim political attacks if investigated prosecute themselves. Yes, we've talked about this a lot. Anybody running for president right now, you might as well raise an eyebrow at them, because chances are something is on them. They're not running because they think they can actually beat Trump. They're running because if anything gets going into them, they can claim that this was political persecution. You're just running against me because you're threatened and you think that I'm going to beat you, and you know how they're going to stir this up. And then we've got Adam Schiff's name right here in brackets. Well, how about that? Adam Schiff was the one who came out saying they're going to launch another investigation. And this time it's going to be into Trump and Trump's family. Look, at this point, we all know, and this was stated in A.G. Whitaker's testimony the other day, that in the United States of America, we do not investigate people. We investigate crimes. And we're currently seeing them do everything they can to investigate the man, Donald Trump. And this new investigation is going to be spearheaded by Adam Schiff, who incidentally also was just found out to have met Glenn Simpson from Fusion GPS fame up there in Aspen while on the slopes. How about that? Interesting time, Adam Schiff. Seems like if anybody tried to discredit your little investigation, that would be perceived as political persecution, wouldn't it? And then Q has SDNY AG being Southern District of New York AG. Well, the current AG right now is one Richard Donahue, like I said, who had just got a visit from acting AG Whitaker down in the El Chapo trial. Now, I have a feeling this is going to lead to a lot of things. I have a feeling it's going to lead to some Pelosi connections, Beto O'Rourke connections, anybody who was on the take down there, down south with El Chapo. This is going to be really, really big. And the reason I think it's going to be big is because nobody's talking about this. Look, this is El Chapo. This is one of the biggest drug lords we've ever heard of, right? You would think that his trial would be big time news, and yet nobody seems to want to talk about it. Now we've got this AG Whitaker, who is really only going to be a temporary AG. He's going to be stepping out of office very, very soon. What was he doing there visiting with Richard Donahue? But more importantly, let's remember who was the other roadblock before Richard Donahue at the SDNY AG. That would have been one Eric Schneiderman, and nobody likes Schneiderman. Yeah, he was trying to railroad the whole NXIVM investigation, and that's why he had to go. And he ended up getting popped for being a little bit rough with the ladies himself. Yeah, he likes to wear a little guy liner and rough up the girls. Attempts to retain blockade, that was the big blockade. Remember, folks, anything that big is going down, whether it's the laptop that was found, all these different court cases are going on through the Southern District of New York. Attempts to prevent public release of the truth. Zero leaks regarding Huber. Yeah, Huber was supposed to bring the pain, and nobody's heard anything about him. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, we do know this. We haven't heard anything because nothing's been leaked. Zero. Do not mistake public silence for inaction. This is not another 4-year election. So it looks to me like acting AG Whitaker is just simply here to remove some knuckleheads and do what he's got to do. And of course, he gave his testimony the other day, all voluntarily, and that was a great, great show. I'll actually probably do try and get maybe a quick burn video out on that, something like that. There was so much theater in that; it was just brilliant. But then he's going to get going, and it's going to be all about William Barr, and of course, that everything will shift towards that, towards discrediting him. Let's move on for now. 2677. 52 minutes after the hour of 3. Anon says, welcome back. Q says, we never left. It's time to return publicly. And we see that here in the next post, 2678, 12 minutes after the hour of 9. We get this NBC link right here. Russian troll accounts purged by Twitter pushed QAnon and other conspiracy theories.
Sounds like you have mental problems, man.
Yeah, you got mental problems, man.
Yeah, it really does.
Man.
Well, consider the source, and the source is none other but Ben Butthurt Collins. And anybody who knows me knows that I'm a big fan. Ben Collins is one of my favorite journalists. Now, Ben spat this thing out somewhere around February 2nd. A new batch of troll accounts identified by Twitter as having ties to Russia's propaganda operation revealed an emphasis on promoting far-right conspiracy theories such as QAnon to Americans. Well, I got to hand it to you, Butthurt Collins. You're always consistent, as in a consistent lump of fail, and we found that already in your first paragraph. Look, troll accounts identified by Twitter as having ties to Russia's propaganda operation. What's the name of that propaganda operation? What kind of propaganda operation is that? Now, I know that people follow QAnon all over the world, but I'll tell you one country I don't hear a lot from as far as the people who follow QAnon, it would be Russia. So that seems like a pretty big stretch, Ben Butthurt Collins. Where do you get that information? How did you get that? You got any facts to back that up, Ben Collins? No, you probably don't. So here's another lump of fail from Ben Collins, and you can read it if you want or whatever, but it's basically just talking about how they're trying to conflate this Russia narrative with knuckleheads and knuckleheads to QAnon. That's how they do it. So you're welcome to read this if you'd like, but it just goes to show that once again, QAnon is panicking the news media. And what do they do when they panic? Do they send out their big guns? No, they send out their fail cannon fodder like Ben Butthurt Collins. So in summary, this article's trash and Ben Collins is a wuss. We're moving on. Q says, Russia, Russia, Russia.
Care este capitala Angliei? Rusia.
Fake news attacks continue. Ask yourself why. Well, we should all know this by now, right? Because they're complicit. Time after time, year after year, pumping out what they knew to be faulty information that was leaked illegally to them in the first place, and pumping it out to the American people, knowing it was a lie. What happens when the news no longer reports facts? Well, they're useless. They become useless. They're no longer credible. Nobody will ever want to listen to them again once that one simple fact is exposed. But the fact of the matter is that they've been doubling down on that lie. They can't change their tune at this point. They've built a following off of that lie. If they all of a sudden come clean, what will that do? It'll destruct them within days. What happens when the news no longer reports truth? Well, it's just simply a lie at that point, right? Look, I don't just go after every knucklehead in the media, but Ben Collins lies to you time after time again. So Ben Collins, I'm coming after you every single time, knucklehead. And we're waking up now. And I think that even a bit of that unhinged left is starting to realize that it's no fun to be unhinged all the time. Something has got to be wrong with all this. It can't be that Trump is guilty of all these things and we never knew about this. For 40 years, we didn't know about this. We haven't been able to get anything on Trump, but all of a sudden, he became a racist. All of a sudden, he became a Russian tool. The enemy of the people is right there in the media. And when that gets exposed, we're going to see why guys like Anderson Cooper were put in the position that he was. It'll become incredibly obvious because the truth is all right there and they know it. Enemy of the people, control, Q. Let's move on. Post 2679, 9:15. We get this link right here to NASA, and we're talking about this Countdown 101. The countdown clock is one of the most watched timepieces in the world. On this page, you'll learn how the countdown operates and what milestones to watch for during our live launch coverage. Pauses in the countdown, or holds, are built into the countdown to allow the launch team to target a precise launch window and to provide a cushion of time for certain tasks and procedures without impacting the overall schedule. For the Space Shuttle countdown, built-in holds vary in length and always occur at the following times: T-minus 27 hours, T-minus 19, T-minus 11, T-minus 6, T-minus 3, T-minus 20 minutes, and T-minus 9 minutes. So what this goes on to talk about are how the holds are sort of used, and how even though they have to hold to do these things, it doesn't affect the overall schedule. What I'm kind of getting from this here is probably in regards to this right here. The T-minus 30. Anon has an interesting theory here. This is Q's post where they had posted the picture of this watch pointing to 3:15. We weren't sure if it was 3:15 referring to a time or a date being March 15th, which is also Ruth Bader Ginsburg's birthday. Monday, 11th of February, 2019, 3:15 p.m. I think we have started the countdown to the Kraken being unleashed. OIG Rodrow D-Class. NASA Countdown 101, referring to the article. First time is at T-minus 43. NASA posts a timestamp of 9th of February 2019 being 8:15 p.m. Plus 43 hours countdown per instructions would make it Monday 11th of February 2019 at 3:15 p.m. So could something be going down on the 11th of February, tomorrow, at 3:15 p.m.? Well, I don't know for sure, but it could have something to do with these three words that Q uttered last year on February 12th. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Let's move on. Let's go ahead and move on to post 2680. 5 minutes after the hour of 10, we get a couple links right here. The first one is to CNN. Acting AG Whitaker reveals federal prosecutors still investigating GOP claims of FBI misconduct. A top federal prosecutor in Utah, I wonder who that could be, is continuing to investigate allegations that the FBI abused its powers in surveilling a former Trump campaign advisor and should have done more to investigate the Clinton Foundation, according to a source familiar with the matter. While the Justice Department has not publicly commented on the investigation in almost a year, that's because no one's leaking, the source said Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker told former Attorney General Ed Meese during a breakfast meeting in Washington on Wednesday that U.S. Attorney John Huber is continuing his investigation into the wide-ranging allegations. The meeting was first reported by the AP. The source said that the Whitaker did not provide Meese with any details on Huber's work or his findings. That's because he doesn't leak. But this is the most recent indication from senior Justice Department leadership that Huber's work is still ongoing. Okay, and anybody who's been following long enough with QAnon should probably already know that. And honestly, you don't really need to follow QAnon to know that, but it most certainly helps. And let's all rememberize this. Huber wields significant power as a federal prosecutor with the ability to bring charges and convene a grand jury if necessary. All right, so the second article takes you to Breitbart. William Barr in 2017, DOJ abdicating its responsibility by ignoring Clinton uranium deal in favor of Russia collusion. Attorney General nominee William Barr said in 2017 that he believed there was more basis to investigate failed presidential candidate Hillary Clinton for her alleged role in the Uranium One agreement than President Donald Trump's purported collusion with the Russian government in the 2016 election. Following a call last year by President Trump for the Department of Justice to probe into Clinton's role in the deal, Barr told the New York Times that there was nothing inherently wrong about a president requesting a probe, but cautioned that one shouldn't be undertaken because the White House wants one. Barr also told the Times, "I have long believed that the predicate for investigating the uranium deal, as well as the foundation, is far stronger than any basis for investigating so-called collusion. To the extent it is not pursuing these matters, the department is abdicating its responsibility," he added. In his confirmation hearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee Tuesday, Barr was asked about his previous comments regarding Uranium One. "I have no knowledge of Uranium One," he told lawmakers. "I didn't particularly think that was necessarily something that should be pursued aggressively. I was trying to make the point that there was a lot out there. I think all that stuff at the time was being looked at by Utah U.S. Attorney John Huber. Huber, tasked by then Attorney General Jeff Sessions, is looking into whether the law enforcement officials ignored allegations of Clinton involved in the sale of American uranium rights. The point I was trying to make there was that whatever the standard is for launching an investigation, it should be dealt with even-handedly," Barr added. And now it goes on to talk about Clinton Cash, the book Clinton Cash, Rosatom, Uranium One, Frank Giustra, and all this. And I'll let you go ahead and get that yourself. But I think what the point here is that Q is letting us know that the blockade has come to an end. So we have Whitaker, who stepped in and had to remove a few knuckleheads Very much like during the tenure of Anthony Scaramucci, we saw guys like Sean Spicer, Heinz Priebus, those guys like that were going away. Were they leaking? Who knows? But it looks like we still had a lot of blockades there. Like I said, that was a very, very tumultuous time. So now that Whitaker's job is done, and he took a lot of attention. It was quick to see how quickly the media went ahead and jumped all over him and immediately took the pressure off of John Huber to go ahead and do his job. Is that all going to be wrapping up soon? Are we going to get a wrap up from Mueller soon? Is that going to coincide? Not really sure, but it looks like it's starting to get really, really exciting as this blockade comes to an end. It seems to me like we can go ahead and bring out into the public narrative that the wheels have come off this bus, this Trump-Russia collusion bus, and we can start looking into things like William Barr was talking about back in 2017, which is really the Clinton Foundation. Much has been made about her emails, and I'm sure there's quite a bit of damning information there, but it seems like within the foundation is where we're really going to start to see the high crimes, treason, and who knows what else. And we got a new Q post right here, 2681, 54 minutes after the hour of 10. We see in brackets here, minus 30, minus 45, minus 60, and minus 90. I'm assuming these are like our T minus holds right here. And remember, the one we just saw here was T minus 30. So we must be closing down on this countdown. Blockade removal, Scaramucci model, what we just discussed regarding Whitaker. Rod Rowe removal. Goodbye, Rod Rowe. Number 2. Number 1 must have been him being removed from the oversight of the Mueller probe. And then, of course, we had Bruce Orr removal, and we're still kind of getting the fallout from some of his testimony. Then we have 1 through 4, which I would assume would be the AG. Obviously had the recusal of Jeff Sessions. And then you had Rachel Brand leaving to go investigate low prices over there at Walmart. And then we had this whole idea of a temp. And then, of course, if we remove Rod Rowe, which is the red line for the deep state, then you have 1 through 4 removed. And you can put in Barr with Whitaker review, Rod Rowe notes regarding strong reservations to D-class due to sources and methods, plus foreign classification, irreparable harm, OIG review prior to executing order. So Barr with Whitaker reviewing Rod Rowe's notes. Now, Rod Rowe did have reservations regarding this D-class, because the sources and methods were faulty, right? There was no real there. Foreign classification, irreparable harm. Yeah, what this is going to do is it's going to expose a lot of these foreign nations within not just the Five Eyes, but particularly the Five Eyes, the UK, Australia, and how they were using their agents to spy on us also. And of course, that's going to create a public embarrassment. And at a certain point, it could cause war. And that's why so much of this has had to sort of go out of the outward narrative. The OIG review prior to executing order. Yeah, it needs to really show, because you can't just go accusing people of spying. You've got to break it down for them boogie style and show it to them. And from here on out, it looks like Q is kind of letting us know how it's going to go. Barr with Whitaker pull the D-class review assignment from the OIG report. Cite executive order from POTUS does not require special oversight. Yeah, all they want you to really do is cite your sources. You shouldn't have to have oversight to keep people from asking you to cite your sources. DOJ, FBI, Ray, fully capable in reviewing and commenting regarding, I would assume that'd be operation integrity, sources and methods, etc. Yeah, like I just said. The fact of the matter is that we have a sitting U.S. president that is under investigation for who even knows what at this point. And all they're really asking is for them to cite their sources and methods, and they don't want to do that. Barr executes order to D-class and provides a member of House Committee long requested supplemental documentation in classified setting, scope memo plus classification as required by U.S. law. So it looks like Barr is going to be our trigger man to finally order for this D-class and show, by citing this executive order, the legalities of this. Look, if you're going to do this to our president, we have every right to see what goes on in these memos. What was in this scope memo? Whitaker remains DOJ senior staff. So it looks like Whitaker will maybe stay on. Who knows if he takes on some sort of advisory role. Barr meeting Huber and OIG. Well, what would they meet about other than Huber's findings after all this time, right? And a lot of that is probably going to be featured in this new OIG report. House Democrats threaten subpoena of Barr and Whitaker, of course, regarding D-class. and that would be the special counsel report, Huber, etc. Yeah, I assume they're going to try and somehow make it look as if Barr and Whitaker were planted all along, as sort of, projecting the whole roadblock onto them, when we know that the fact of the matter is that the Trump-Russia collusion investigation is the roadblock. Does that make sense? House Democrats use subpoena power to Acts 1, 2, and 3. Spill plus 30. So that could be in regards to 30 days, or it could be in regards to 30 pages of some documentation that we may see. But it looks like the House Democrats are going to use their subpoena power to probably try and stall all this, leading us basically to Acts 1, 2, and 3. Remember, you're watching a movie. Meeting with North Korea, denuclearization plan process, sanctions lifted, meets subject A, B, food for people A. Yeah, if they can meet the whatever the criteria is for this denuclearization plan, then sanctions can go ahead and get lifted. And of course, that's what we want to see for them too. We don't want to see their people starving. And I'm sure that North Korea will be a whole lot different when they can finally see the reality of that. But I'm sure we're going to start seeing some sky is falling narrative from the lamestream media, right? UK-Australia narrative shift regarding in-country spy campaign versus POTUS. Yeah, they're going to start deflecting all of that instead of admitting that they were the ones that were handing a lot of that information to them. Now, I'm not really sure about this hops 1 to 3, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to target, other than if they are just talking about a particular order in which they're going to handle this business, or if they're referring to a particular order in which this spying was in relation to. Democratic sky is falling, push to public. Of course, yeah, if you start seeing these narratives come out in the public, then that would lead you to think that everything is okay. No, not everything is okay. Sky's falling. Scare to control projection. Public awakening, narrative damage control. Placeholders active. Yeah, once they realize that all this is starting to come to an end, they're going to realize that Trump was not colluding with Russians, and that indeed it was our mainstream media that was colluding with multiple countries to share and disseminate information, along with, of course, our own intelligence agencies. Then quickly the narrative is going to go ahead and shift. And of course, once that happens, this wall discussion is going to come to an end. It's not going to seem like such a big deal to the Democrats anymore. Now, in regards to these placeholders active, thanks to the Anon who posted this, here are some of the placeholders that Q has posted about before. And as you can see, we've got lots of indictments tracking. I'll let you read through some of those right there. But we see that some of these are special counsel rulings, acts of treason plus support articles, foreign acts, Five Eyes publication, D-class of something, not really sure. And then we've got at the bottom there the OIG report and findings. So as we read through this, I'm starting to think that maybe this is a 90-day plan. Keep in mind, this is a little bit new for me too here, but maybe allowing for some holds on the way. And this is an itemized list of what hopes to get achieved. But I would assume if we start talking about D-class, the panic's going to start shifting towards Barr, especially towards his nomination. I think we've seen nothing as far as Kavanaugh goes. They're going to go straight for the jugular with Barr, I would imagine. But these placeholders being active would definitely suggest that we have some acts of treason, and that's going to create some panic. And when they're panicking about that, the wall discussion is definitely going to end. And the public is going to become aware, because you can only shift your blame so much when they're constantly crying about new things every week. People get exhausted. And the fact of the matter is that this red-green castle, meaning our Army Corps of Engineers, are building the wall and have been all along per original plan, under budget and ahead of schedule, dark to light. And then we get this link right here to YouTube. This video will get Donald Trump elected. If you haven't seen it, please go check it out. It's linked over here on the Q map, but we've played it here before, and I'm not going to play that for you, but there you go. All right, guys, that's all I got for you for now. I will get back to work on this story. Don't be surprised if you don't hear from me for a couple days. Now, if Q posts, I'll probably try and jump back on that, but otherwise, I'm really going to try and take some time. There's been a lot of information coming in, and I'm going to need a couple days just to kind of soak it up. So like I said, don't be surprised, but I want to get it out, and because I really think there's a lot of teeth to this story, and I'll get that out as soon as I can, and hopefully follow it up with a nice quick burn. All right, kids, that's all I got for you today. As always, if you like this video, please click like, share, and subscribe. Thanks to all of you who do that already. I greatly appreciate you. We're closing in big time on 100,000. So tell your friends, and that'll be like 8 people right there just alone, okay? If you're new to my channel, welcome to you. Please keep in mind that from time to time you'll get unclicked and unnotified and unsubscribed. As a matter of fact, yesterday I saw 500 subscribers within about a period of a minute get dropped. So that might be you. Go check yourself before you wreck yourself. All right, all my links are down below. My Gab, my BitChute, my Brighteon.com. I'm over here at Twitter at IPOT1776. That's at IPOT1776. Won't you give me a follow on over here if you're a Twitterite? And if you'd like to email me, my email is down below. My P.O. box is down below if you're old school. And if you'd like to support the channel, my Patreon link is down below too. All those links are down below. All right, kids, until next time, this is Sir Patrick Mac. Stay funky.